Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we'll have our final Ravnica Mixer Draft, as tomorrow they will be switching to the Premier Drafts of the Core Sets format, which is somewhat similar to the Mixer Draft here, in that it'll be a pack from 3 different sets, so that'll be pretty fun, but this is the last opportunity for Ravnica, so we're going to go ahead and hop right back into it. Pretty excited about Rock Charger here, a 3-mana 1/3 flyer that gives another attacking creature flying whenever it attacks. Just a really good ability to get in there with some big beefy creatures. Even just like a 3/3 getting flying can be quite the threat. There's a powerful gold card here. House Guildmage can keep something tapped down or set up your draw steps by surveilling over and over. That's a decent pick. Guildgate's always an excellent pick in this format. Or just the rare Runaway Steamkin can be fun in a heavily red deck. He will get enough counters on this for it to be a 4/4 for only 2 mana eventually, but a little slow if you're pretty multicolored. I think I'm just going to take Rock Charger here. It leaves us pretty open being a monocolored card, and I think it also is just a powerful card. Alright, pack 2 here. Well, I really like the District Guide in the Mixer Draft format, specifically the Ravnica Mixer format, because there's so much multicolored stuff going on. Guildgates are such great mana fixers, so having a 2/2 for 3 that can grab any Guildgate from your deck when you play it is just an excellent kind of mana fixing card. It also puts you up a card, of course, being a 3-mana 2/2 that draws the land into your hand. Pretty excellent card overall. Pretty happy to take it there. Now in pick 3, we could just slam down a Selesnya Guildgate. The only colors we have so far are green and white, so we'll definitely be playing this if we stick to these colors, which I don't see any reason not to so far. If we want to just grab the most powerful card in the pack, there's pretty much just like Deadweight here. Great cheap removal, 1 mana for -2/2. While the Giant can finish some games, but it is a lot of mana. Oh, most of the commons here are pretty filler, pretty mediocre stuff. Even Undercity Uprising, sure it's removal, but it's kind of mediocre removal, basically being like an expensive Prey Upon. Although with this, you know your creature is always going to kill theirs, even if it will probably still die. So Undercity Uprising, not that exciting. Fresh Face Recruit might be the best like non-deadweight common, just being a first striker during your turn for a good aggressive deck, and we could play that being white-green here, but Guildgates are just such a high pick in the Mixer Draft format that I'm going to slam one down here. As you can see, pick 4, there's already no Guildgate in this pack, so somebody else took a Guildgate at least pick 3 at the latest. So now we have some good Dimir cards, mainly just Dimir Spybug. 2 mana for a 1/1 Flying Menace, that's fine. If you have a little bit of Surveil in your deck, it's going to be pretty decent. If you have a lot of Surveil in your deck, it's going to be excellent. Going to be quite hard to have a lot of Surveil in your deck, as there's only 1 pack to get it in. Got to scoop up all your Dimir Informants in pack 1 here, so I think Spybug's a little bit hard to really get running, and if we take it, we're going to have a really difficult mana base, or we're going to have to drop everything we're doing so far. So I don't think that's the pick for us. We could just slam down a Shieldmate. I mean, a 2-mana 2/2 Vigilance, not that great, but fine filler card. Pack's not that exciting in general. Maybe we could take the Dimir Informant there, just grab our first blue card, but I don't think we're taking the gold card, especially a gold card that specifically only combos with a mechanic that's in pack 1 exclusively. So pick 5 now. We have Grappling Sundew if we want to sit on our butts and just defend ourselves as we set up some mana. We have Silent Dart, which is removal in any colors we end up in. A lot of mana for that removal, 1 mana to play it, and then 4 mana to sacrifice it to deal 3 damage, but it still puts in work. Kind of excited about Silent Dart. It's between that and like the Dimir Guildgate here for me. Again, nothing super spicy off color, so I would like to just take something flexible here, like a mana fixing land or a colorless removal spell. I'll go with the colorless removal spell here, slam a Silent Dart in the deck. Alright, now we have Urban Utopia for mana fixing. The fact that this draws a card when you play it makes sure that you're not down a card with your mana fixing, it just immediately replaces itself, so pretty decent mana fixer there for that reason. We have Healer's Hawk, which is great with any Mentor cards, such as the True Fire Captain here. Mentor means it puts a +1/+1 counter on an attacking creature with less power every time it attacks. True Fire Captain, really hard to cast, but if we get some Guild Gates, probably too late in this pack, but in pack 2, if we get some Gruul Guild Gates, the red-green Guild Gates, that could help cast it. It is a powerful card, a 4/3 Mentor with some other good abilities. Or, again, just take that mana fixing. I'll go with the True Fire Captain here. I think we're pretty likely to end up in 3 colors, and because we have Gruul in pack 2, I'd be pretty excited for red, green, white here, Naya kind of aggro. We already have a decent amount of creatures so far, 4 out of our 6 picks. And now we can take a Sky Knight Legionnaire in Boros, 3 mana for a 2/2 flying haste. Don't mind if I do. Just a nice aggressive card there. All right, now we got a Selesnya gold card, green, green, white, white, another difficult mana base. We are going to want a lot of Guild Gates to help with the True Fire Captain and Conclave Cavalier. However, this one, 4 mana for a 4/4 Vigilance, and when it dies, just create 2 2/2 Vigilances. That's 8 total power and toughness for the 4 mana over time, which is just an excellent deal if you can manage to cast that. So we do have Centaur Peacemaker. Don't like this in aggressive decks. This is much better in defensive decks because you're giving both players 4 life. So the player that just needs the life to survive in the early game gets the higher benefit. And I think we're leaning more towards aggressive in our color scheme, so I'm more interested in like the Skyline Scout here. 2 mana, 2/1, and you can give it flying whenever it attacks for 2 mana. So at the start of the game, it just chips in for 2, and later in the game, once there's a board stall, you've got that alternative use of your mana to make sure you're still chipping in for some damage, so I do like that card. Not a huge fan of the World Soul Colossus for this deck, because it is just a giant X mana card here. I'm looking for more efficient, just cheap beaters. Torch Courier, not very exciting. Sworn Companion's not very exciting. Crawl Forager's not very exciting, so I think I'll just take Okran Assassin. I think it's the most powerful card here, even if it is off-color and unlikely to be played. Maybe we end up going black in pack 2 if we open up a really powerful Orzhov rare, a really powerful white-black rare. We could end up going white-green-black instead of white-green-red, or white-red-black instead of white-green-red. So here I'm actually going to take Golgari Locket, just in case we do go that black splash route. I think if we do end up in like white, red, green, we're not going to be the kind of deck that wants a Locket, but if we end up wanting to move into black, the most likely reason for us to want to do that would be opening up some kind of powerful rare. In which case, just some mana rocks to help get there would be the kind of thing we're looking towards. If we stay in just red, green, white, it looks like we're looking towards just an aggressive deck, probably not wanting to waste any time, just playing mana rocks in the mid game. I don't love any of this. I guess Collar the Culprit could be castable, but it's so sideboardy to me. But yeah, the black creatures are pretty mediocre, so even if we end up going black, it's probably not anything great there. Well, we do open Rakdos the Showstopper here in pack 2. 6 mana for a 6/6 flying trample, already fantastic for limited, and when it enters the battlefield, flip a coin for each creature that isn't a demon, devil, or imp, and destroy each creature whose coin comes up tails. So if your opponent has a larger board state than you when you cast this, then on average, you're getting a good deal there, killing more of their cards than your cards. Yeah, just a massive bomb there. Giant 6/6 trample that helps clear the rest of the board. I guess we start to consider white, red, black here, opening up a powerful red, black rare. Or if we get enough mana fixing, we could try to go the full 5 color here. And we could also just be white, green, black with like 1 Rakdos Guild Gate, 1 Golgari Locket, and a District Guide. And just splash in a Rakdos off of those 3 sources. Because Rakdos is a very late game play. We can wait on the mana for Rakdos. Alright. Kind of like Open the Gates here. The other options on color aren't really crazy, to be honest. I guess Frenzied Errands is a pretty good deal. 4 mana for a 4/4 trample with the ability to pump it up later in the game. Really get some damage, and that is pretty solid. Zertog Goblin also pretty solid. Hard to cast that early in the game, but if you do resolve it on turn 2, you are getting a 2 mana 3/3. So yeah, the best cards here just being the Gruul cards. Or the Open the Gates to really help with that Rakdos. And this, of course, can grab basic lands, not just gates. So even if we don't end up with like a Rakdos Guild Gate, we can just use this to grab a swamp, because that is most likely to be the most splashed color in here, just black. I think I'm just going to go with the... Well, yeah, I'm just going to go with the Airings here. I feel like Open the Gates might wheel, because it's not the best mana fixing ever. It's just 1 for 1. You turn that 1 card into 1 land. District Guide's like a 2 for 1, because you get a 2/2 and the 1 land off the card. And there are some other good mana fixers like that. Well, here we can grab our 1 Rakdos Guild Gate for Rakdos, or we could grab Godless Shrine. It's another way to splash in the black mana. It's a cooler way because it's rare, but it's a worse way for our deck because we have the District Guide that can grab gates, that can grab a Rakdos Guild Gate, but it can't grab a Godless Shrine. So I think just do my due diligence here, make sure we've got a pretty easy way to grab that Rakdos, plus the flavor. Having the card that the guild is named after. Kind of want to take cards with his name in there. So Rakdos the Showstopper and Rakdos Guild Gate. Still looking for some more early game plays for sure here. I do like the Gruul Guild Gate. You know, this pack, I mean, we've got a lot of great 3/4 mana stuff. I think the only thing I'm really missing out on this deck, there's a couple things. I want a lot of Guild Gates, I want a lot of mana fixing to come into the deck, and then I want a lot of cheap cards. That's pretty much it to fill out this deck, and then I'll start feeling pretty happy. And luckily for us, I think again, there's nothing all that great in our colors. Guildmage is fine, but a little hard to cast that early in the game. Goreclan Wrecker's fine, but we have a lot of 4 mana stuff now. So that mana cost is getting pretty congested. So I think the pick's really between Guildmage and the Guild Gate, and I'm just going to take the Guild Gate first. Our mana base is very difficult. I want to make sure we have a lot of ways to get there. Because now we might have the red, red, white, white uncommon, the green, green, white, white uncommon, and the red, red, green, green uncommon. Because I might just take a Sunder Shaman. A 5 mana 5/5, it can't be double blocked. They have to have something that's at least a 5/5 to kill it in combat, or a Death Toucher. And if it ever hits them, you get to destroy one of their artifacts or enchantments. That part is just kind of icing on the cake. The main part is a 5/5 that can't be double blocked, so it's really hard to kill. I'm going to take Sunder Shaman here over the Orzhov Guildgate, but that would be a pretty great pick too. I just think it's kind of funny to have 3 different, really difficult to cast 4 mana cards. And now we get a Gruul Guildgate to help, or Territorial Boar. Hopefully pack 3 gives us the powerful cheap cards. There are some powerful cheap cards in War of the Spark. Because I don't really think, now that I have 3 of these ridiculously hard to cast 4-drops, I don't think I can pass up any more Guild Gates from this point on. Just every single Guild Gate we see, no matter what we're taking. So no Guild Gates in this pack, so now we can actually get some more cheap cards into the deck, so we aren't just dying in the early game. We're still casting some stuff, so Territorial Boar, I think it is, just a nice little 2-drop. We do have a lot of 4-power creatures now. We have the Cavalier, the Captain, the Shaman, the Airings, Rakdos. So this could be getting +1/+1 vigilance now and then. Another Territorial Boar, sure. I am looking for more 2-mana creatures. Pretty easy pick here, it looks like. It's between that and like a Rubble Slinger or a Rubble Belt Runner. Those look pretty mediocre. Just reach or can be blocked by tokens. I don't love the Watchdog. Although we have some like big creatures that we'd want to save from removal spells, so it could be okay in this deck. And it does give us another early game play. Yeah, maybe try out the Watchdog here. Again, we've got a lot of 4 mana stuff. I don't think we're going to have room for Goreclan Wrecker, so I suppose Watchdog it is. We do wheel the Open the Gates, which is perfect. That is actually going to make the cut, even though it's not a 2-for-1 anything, just a sorcery that turns into a land. That's fine by us. We are going to need to mana fix to make sure we can hit these 4 drops on turn 4. And Open the Gates being flexible, the more guild gates you have is excellent for us, because now that one card, basically the Open the Gates is like, if we draw that, we get a black, red, or green, white land, which is pretty perfect. This pack is very unexciting. I guess I'll take Sky Tether. Just shut off one of our opponent's flying beaters. Well, we did Wheel the Clan Guild Mage, so we can slap that in here. Difficult to cast for sure, but powerful if we can get it out. Alright, Ceruli Caretaker also going to be helpful for us, being a 4-color deck here. 3 colors splashing a 4th. We'll take a card that can tap for a mana of any color. We do need an additional creature on the board to get that tapping done, but it'll help with that. And now I'm feeling really confident, because now we have another Territorial Boar. So now we have as many early game plays as we want. The pack 3 here is just going to be for refining our deck. We already have a full deck here. This is a 26 non-land card deck, so deck's complete. All we're doing is making it more powerful with the last pack. That's exactly the kind of place I like to be in my draft pods. So this is looking to go pretty excellently here, and I think I'll take another gate, the Gateway Plaza here. Since we are 4 colors, that is where I am pretty interested in playing Gateway Plaza. Don't really want to run this in 2 colors. In 3 colors, it's fine. In 4+ colors, that's where it really shines. So Gateway Plaza is going to be quite good for our deck, and there's not much going on here, to be honest. In terms of the power level for a War of the Spark pack, this is pretty weak, since War of the Spark is a very bomb-heavy format with even some really good commons and stuff. So overall, Gateway Plaza seems super fine to me. And here we go, showing off how bomb-heavy War of the Spark is, even the non-Planeswalker rares being pretty absurd cards. Tulsamir, Friend to Wolves, that is in our colors, since we are 4 colors. 5 mana for a 3/3, you get another 3/3, and you can have that fight a creature that you don't control, and you gain 3 life. So 5 mana for 6 power and toughness spread amongst 2 creatures, and you get to potentially kill one of your opponent's creatures. So great card there. We also do have like Spark Harvest here, although having our removal be on our splash color, being black, is going to be a little difficult. But we are low on removal, so that is definitely an option, but I think I'm just taking the big old bomb there. All right, well, again, low on removal, a little bit interested in Nahiri. Nahiri only damages tapped creatures, which is a bit of an issue. Could take Wanderer's Strike over Nahiri instead because of that. Seems fine. We don't have much going on in +1/+1 counters, do we? We just have, like, the one Mentor card. I guess we have the Riot card. Frenzied Erings gets a counter, and Truefire Captain puts counters onto our stuff, so we're not proliferating often, but sometimes we will. Yeah, Nahiri or Wanderer's Strike, some kind of removal here. I guess we could take Nahiri here. It's a little scarier, and her static ability does work pretty well in our deck, because now just giving all of our creatures first strike during our turn, it's going to make our attacks very aggressive. Okay, so now we have more removal, which I think we need to take, like band together here. Although Trusted Pegasus is a great card, another card that just gives something flying whenever it attacks, very similar to our pick 1, pack 1 Rock Charger. So we could really go after that theme. Like, either of these 2 flyers on turn 3 into one of our 4-drop crazy cards on turn 4 is just going to be a massive curve. I think for that reason, I am going to take Trusted Pegasus over Band Together. Let's just be a deck that's low on removal. I'm definitely very hesitant to be a deck that's low on removal in this format because of how bomby stuff can be, but let's just see what happens here. I think I'm committed into what we're doing here. And the idea of like flying creature into just slamming down these 4-drops is pretty exciting. And again, with all of those, I'm going to take Gateway Plaza here over some decent removal. We have Law Rune Enforcer, which works as removal, or Heartfire. But our mana is just ridiculous. Some really hard to cast stuff, so take that Gateway Plaza there. Alright, Crunch Wrangler on 2 seems fine. A 2/1 Trampler that gets bigger if we hit any 4 power stuff, which we do have. Yeah, pretty full on 3s and 2s, to be honest. So actually anything we take here could very well get cut. We'll see here. Definitely a lot of options when we build this deck. Another Gateway Plaza. We already have 2. Do we really want a 3rd? Honestly, probably. The fact that we got another one here means I do feel a little bad taking that last Gateway Plaza. We would much rather have that been a removal spell. 2 plazas and a removal spell, probably better in this deck than 3 plazas, and there's like nothing else to play in this pack, so that didn't pan out super well. New Horizons is fine here. Really helps cast the double cards. Helps ramp into an early Rakdos as well. Sure. Bond of Discipline can actually really end some games. Just all of a sudden tap your opponent's whole board. Like, alright, we're in a board stall, now nothing you have can block, because it's all tapped, so you just die. So that is a card, but not a card we're going to use here. Alright, now I'm just going to take some good cards we're not going to play, because they're in our splash colors. I really don't like Prismite for mana fixing, because it does slow you down. And it's very flimsy. But at the same time, we're not really a Grateful Apparition deck, are we? Now we have New Horizons, so we're a little closer to it. I don't know. We'll throw it in here. We'll see. We are not going to have Anissa Planeswalkers. This is just 2 mana to grab 2 forests. Not very good in the 4-color deck, I would say. Just grab an Enforcer Griffin we're probably not playing. Grab a Snare Spinner we're probably not playing. I mean, I guess I'll grab the Prismite here, but again, probably cutting that. All right, well, Wheel the Law Rune Enforcer. Feel nice and safe now. I mean, not really, but a little bit safer now. Now we have a removal spell on a stick. Law Rune Enforcer just keeps tapping down any creature with mana value 2 or greater. Cannot tap down tokens, and it can't tap down 1-drop creatures, but basically just keep their biggest threat tapped down every turn unless that threat is a token. So, Law Rune Enforcer is definitely making the cut in this deck because we don't have great removal. We have some pretty mediocre removal for sure. Alright, so 49 cards. We get to cut 9 cards out of this deck. I don't really feel like Prismite. We have some great lands now, and we have District Guide and Open the Gates and Cerulean Caretaker. So that feels pretty good. So love Collar the Culprit, because it's such sideboardy removal. Only killing high toughness cards. If we cut these 2, then we need to cut 7 more cards. Ladev Guardian looks pretty insignificant, just a 2/4 in the middle there. Very mid-rangey. Locks it on Restore, also pretty insignificant. Brush Strider, not great. 3/2 for 3 mana, so no really other abilities in that, just gained a couple life. Yeah, our flyers are excellent here. Our District Guide is excellent. And yeah, it's just 3 flyers and a District Guide at 3, so those are all better. Now we start cutting some of the 2s and 1s. Just cut 2 1-mana cards, 2 2-mana cards probably here. Clan Guild Mage might be a little difficult to cast, but we have a pretty aggressive curve and a ton of creatures, so just the abilities on this are pretty exciting. So we might keep it in, at least for now, and then just see how things go. Let's take another look at our +1/+1 counter amounts. We have counters on Horizons, counters on Nahiri, Eric's Captain. 4 cards that have +1/+1 counters. 1 out of every 10 cards in our deck has something to do with counters. That feels like too few for Grateful Apparition, so I'm going to cut that. Would I rather have a 2-mana 2/2 or a 2-mana 2/1 that potentially gets permanently bigger? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 creatures that will be entering the battlefield as 4 or more toughness. That is a pretty low count, so I think I'll get rid of Kronshringer and maybe even 1 boar. Because then we still have 2 boars, a Guild Mage, a Shield Mage, Skyline Scout. Still have 5 2-mana cards. Yeah, now we just cut... I don't want to cut Healer's Hawk, because I like Healer's Hawk with New Horizons. I like Healer's Hawk with the Mentor on the Captain. I like Healer's Hawk with just a good amount of flyers. But I also don't want to cut the Caretaker because we're kind of 4 colors here and we have some difficult 4-mana costs. I don't want to cut Watchdog because we have some impactful later game creatures. So I guess the pick really is between Watchdog and Healer's Hawk as the cut. Like, we have 19 creatures in here. We'd be cutting down to 18 creatures. So sure, like, Sky Tether's like very mediocre removal. Same with Silent Dart. But I'd like to have more bases covered, have more variety in my deck than just a stack of 24 creatures in here. So I am going to cut another creature here over one of the mediocre non-creatures. So it's between Healer's Hawk and Resolute Watchdog, I feel. I don't want to overburden my deck with just nothing but 1s and 2s, because then just lower our mid-range plays, like our 3s and 4s here. So I don't want to cut anything above 2 mana right now. We just have so many 1 and 2 drops. And these seem to be the most filler, the most mediocre. This is a super hard pick for me, because I enjoy both of these cards. Feel like getting rid of the Watchdog here. Could be wrong. But our creatures, like, generally just a good pile of creatures, efficient on curve. We're somewhat aggressive. We have a lot of coming to play tapped lands that we do have to consider. We're slower than we look here because of our mana base, which I guess leans us more to Watchdog, because Watchdog better for the slower decks. Blocks a little bit in the early game and then protects one of our finishers for a turn. Yeah, we'll go ahead and keep the Watchdog over the Hawk, I suppose. Have some very defensive 1-drops, all 3 of these super defensive cards here. 3 toughness on the Watchdog and the Caretaker, and the ability to tap things down on the Enforcer. Take another look at our other cards here, see if there's more we can do to pivot into a little slower, a little more controlling. Not really. Everything on our sideboard, pretty much just more creatures. More random creatures. I guess we could throw a Collar the Culprit in here instead of one of the 2-drop creatures if we are looking to be a little less aggressive than previously anticipated. That would be fine. We are very low on removal, so we probably have to take some situational removal. Yeah, and Guildmage is like really hard to cast on turn 2. Get rid of Clan Guildmage and throw in a Collar the Culprit here. Now we're down to 17 creatures, your standard mid-range limited deck. And a little less going on at the cheap mana, a little more mid-range. Alright, seems good to me. This will be the final Ravnica Mixer Draft deck here. I don't know if I would call it the cream of the crop, but it's looking pretty spicy. Lots of gold stuff, lots of really hard to cast stuff. We're going to have to just ride on the coattails of our mana base as well as we can. I could even see cutting a Gateway Plaza here potentially, because this is more than it comes into play tapped land. This is a comes into play and taps another one of your lands. So this is like a really slow land. So I don't know if I want the 3, hopefully New Horizons, Open the Gates, Caretaker, District Guide. Hopefully all that helping is enough to not need 3 Gateway Plazas. So I'm going to cut one of those here. I am not going to play a Swamp. That is heinously wrong, I think. Because we have 1 black card in here, Rakdos, and we have 1 Rakdos Guildgate for black, 2 Gateway Plaza for black, New Horizons, Open the Gates, Cerulean Caretaker, District Guide. We have like 6 black sources. Yeah, we're not going to need Swamp. Not 6 black sources, but 6 cards that could grab black sources. That is one thing you have to consider here. Just in general, in Limited, this is much more for Innistrad splashing than Ravnica splashing, because the Gateway Plaza is literally a mana of any color. But when you're considering your mana base for your splashes with cards like Evolving Wilds, if you have 1 like red mythic rare that costs a single red mana in your green-white deck, right? And you want to have 3 red sources in your deck, you do have to consider the fact that if your 3 red sources are Mountain and 2 Terramorphic Expanse, there's going to be a non-zero amount of games, probably like 25 to 30% of the games, you're going to crack a Terramorphic Expanse for your green or white. and not your red mana. And then if you draw your red bomb, you still don't have that red mana, even though you hit technically one of your 3 red sources. So that is one thing to consider with a card like Open the Gates. Like sometimes we're going to have to cast Open the Gates to just grab a Selesnya Guild Gate, and then in that facet, it did not function as a black source for Rakdos. So important to keep that in mind depending on how much you need for your splash colors. When you're considering cards like Open the Gates or Terramorphic Expanse to search for a land, those will be cast just to help you hit your second color instead of your splash color on occasion. So kind of just something I thought of there to mention here. It doesn't matter here because we have so many. I mean, we have Open the Gates, District Guide, and then we have like 4 cards that straight up tap for a mana of any color, New Horizons, Caretaker, and Gateway Plaza, but sometimes it does matter. So just thought I would mention that there. All right, so, okay. I don't really like looking at the colors here. I feel like that's a little harder to do than just piling them up, because you get to see how many of the cards require duplicates of the colors, like double green or double white. That is important to see. Oh, this is going to be... I mean, every time you make a mana base in the Ravnica Mixer format, it's going to be a time. Unless you just drafted a guild. If you just drafted like Dimir or Golgari or something, then you'll be fine. But if you drafted like a Ravnica Mixer deck, then creating the mana base is always a time. Okay, I don't know why Silent pauses with the lands. I guess because it's a non-creature. Alright, so, I mean, green is the most important color. Green gives us access to District Guide, Open the Gates, and New Horizons. Even though we have more white than green cards, I kind of want just as many green sources as white sources. So, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 green here. 5, 6 white. All right. I mean, that's even on both. Of course, these are a mana of any color, so I'm just not going to count them when I count sources because they're irrelevant. They give us anything we need. I mean, I'll consider them for the splashes, so I don't put in too many of our splash colors. But yeah, here we have equal amounts of green and white is what I'm trying to figure out here. And then on red, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red cards. And then on black, we have 1. So 6 red cards, 1 black card. Right now, we have 5 red sources and 1 black source. And of course, you add 2 sources of any color for both of those. That's 7 red sources, 3 black sources. This is actually just like perfect. I guess we throw in like 1 more forest just because, again, Open the Gates, District Guide, New Horizons, Cerulean Caretaker as well. I think we do add in 1 more forest. Yeah, we also need double green on Tolsimir, Conclave Cavalier, Sunder Shaman. There are 3 cards in our deck that need double green. There's only 2 that need double white, just Conclave Cavalier and Captain. Yeah, I'll throw in, so now we have 7 green sources, 6 white sources, 5 red sources, 1 black source, and then 2 of any color that help with any of those. All right, I think that seems good to me. And I think we're okay cutting a Gateway Plaza as well, because our mana base still looks pretty good. I mean, it does look all over the place. It's always going to look like that with a 4-color deck, but when you consider the actual numbers here, doing pretty well on like every color. I guess I do have to consider, we do have 2 double red cards, so maybe another red over another green. 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, yeah, 5 natural red sources plus 2 of any color. Plus, again, New Horizons Caretaker. It's probably fine. I really consistently want to hit this green. Yeah, we'll roll with that. Since it is the final Ravnica Mixer draft, we'll get some flavorful lands in here. Let's go Guilds of Ravnica lands in here. 4 forests. That's 5. 2 mountains. And 5 plains. right. The finale of the Ravnica Mixer Drafts. We'll see how we do here. See if we can't get one last 7-win run in here. That would be very spicy. I will be playing my hardest. Well, I don't know how true that is. I don't know if you can tell so far, but I'm pretty ill right now. I've got another ear infection. I get those just all the time since I was a kid. So I am a little bit drugged up right now and just a little hazy from earache kind of pain. But I am still going to play my hardest. But my voice might start going out by the end of this draft, so if that starts happening, you'll know why. Alright, this is a super excellent hand to me. 2-drop Shieldmate, 3-drop District Guide, great mana. We have a Law Rune Enforcer for later, we have a Sky Tether. Shut off an attacker. Alright. Opponent has decided, and they are going to keep. Draw Selesnya Guildgate as well, making our mana base even better. Opponent is on Izzet with Firemind's Research. When they cast an instant or sorcery, they put a charge counter onto that. And they can remove 2 of those counters to draw a card, or 5 of those counters to deal 5 to any target. So if they have a heavily, just a deck with a ton of instants and sorceries, they can really get a lot of value off of that card. So I'm playing our tapped land this turn, so we can drop down just a big old 4/4 Frenzied Errands next turn. Because we do still get to cast a Law Rune Enforcer this turn. So we can hold off on the District Guide, we don't need it yet. And we don't have the True Fire Captain mana until we cast a District Guide, but I think I'm still gonna just cast the Frenzied Errands here. Our opponent is stuck on 2 lands, that explains why the keep was so difficult for our opponent there. And there's the 3rd mana and the 3rd color, a white source for Dovin's Acuity. Very cool deck from our opponent. Dovin's Acuity, when enters the battlefield, gain 2 life and draw a card. Whenever they cast an instant during their main phase, they do get to put that back in their hand to cast it again, gain 2 life, draw another card. So probably an instant heavy deck, a bunch of instant speed removal to cast during their turn with these 2 enchantments to give them just a ton of value throughout the game if they can survive the long game. So I'm going to go District Guide, grab a Mountain here, and then I can cast Territorial Bore this turn and True Fire Captain next turn. So again, like, this is one of those instances here, because I want to cast Territorial Bore this turn, I'm not getting the Rakdos Guildgate, so my mana fixer that I could have counted as a black source did not actually function as a black source this game. Because this is just one of those corner cases here where I'm not grabbing that Guildgate, I'm just grabbing the untapped land. Flood this board as quickly as possible, so if they don't have a Wrath effect, they just straight die here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Righteous Blow that. I can buff the Erranks. No, I can't. That costs 1 more mana to buff, so they go to 1 life here. Alright, well, we do get to cast that True Fire Captain. Their 1 out here is a Wrath effect. So I guess I could have just kept the True Fire Captain in hand in case of a Wrath. Probably should have, but I doubt that happens here. Alright, so our opponent did just stumble on mana a little too long, stuck on mana there for quite a while. But they had a really cool looking deck, and I wish them luck in the future rounds. Very controlling deck there. Alright, so a super solid game 1 for us. Our mana base functioning like a well-oiled machine that game. Alright, so we are in round 2 now. We are on the play. Gateway Plaza for the green mana, but we don't have that turn 1, obviously. Because it does come to play tapped, so Caretaker is going to take a little while. Difficult mana base here, but Caretaker plus Gateway Plaza is enough to get double green, definitely not double white for Cavalier. I think this has got to be a mulligan. It's like really slow, even though we technically have mana of any colors. I am going to mulligan this. Alright, this is much faster, but definitely much less going on in terms of the mana. I kind of like keeping this, because then we go Caretaker, we go Shieldmate, attack with Shieldmate. Turn 3, we get to attack with Shieldmate, and then still tap it to play the Airings. So turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. We've got our plays lined up this way. Alternatively, we could take the Boar. But the Boar's not even going to get the buff, because we're just going to cast the Airings by tapping the Boar. So yeah, I think this is what we go with here. Good aggressive curve since we're on the play. Seems ideal to me. Opponent does start with a Healer's Hawk. That is going to help mitigate the damage. They're going to gain a life every turn from that with the lifelink. They are on red-white. So Boros over there, they can definitely have cards to put +1/+1 counters on that Healer's Hawk, which is where it really shines. Sky Knight Legionnaire is the draw. That is cool. But I would rather just play the Airings here, so I think we'll do that. I guess we are offering the trade here, so we'll just cast Legionnaire if they do trade. I'm surprised they took the trade there. Actually, I guess the 2/1 doesn't matter if we have a 0/3 over here, because we just block it all day long. But if they had anything to put +1/+1 counters on it, or any combat tricks like that, they could easily fight through that. Alright, well, Frenzied Airings, turn 4 here. It's going to be the play. They did Scorch Mark our 1 flyer here. It's just mono removal Boros here. It might be. Yep. Lava Coil on the Airings. Just gonna take chip damage from this Healer's Hawk till we draw something else here. Rubble Belt Recluse. Big old 6/5 there. Well, we're definitely looking for like Color the Culprit now. So District Guide here. We have double red, double white. We have double green, double white. We have double green, double red. I don't know what we need on District Guide. I think we're pretty much have perfect mana here. I guess we'll just grab some kind of gate. Gateway Plaza, I guess. Yeah, might as well make the perfect mana even more perfect. And that does thin the deck out, get another land out of there, which is good for us. Well, taking 8 here. Skyline Scout. Need 1 more power on our board to be able to triple block that Recluse. Which is an issue. Alright, well. Gonna need a lot more power. They're at 26 life. I feel like just 1 more toughness is going to be more... It's going to matter more than the ability to get flying when attacking. We're just not attacking until we can deal with everything on their board. And I'm so glad I made that choice, because Tybalt, when these devils die, they do 1 damage to any target, so when a devil dies, they could just kill our 2/1, but not our 2/2. That being said, very unlikely to matter here, because I am forced into a chump block. Yeah, just a Resolute Watchdog here. Not going to be enough this game. Unfortunate round there. Mulliganed into a decent aggressive start, but they did have the removal to stop everything in our hand, and we just did not manage to draw into any more threats as the game progressed. Alright, excellent mana going on here. And of course, some high impact cards to play on turn 4. I think I go Gateway Plaza here, and then next turn I get to play Shieldmate and Caretaker, and then I can tap for one of those, or I could just grab District Guide to grab an untapped land to play on turn 4. Either way, that'll guarantee we can cast either of these 4 drops, which is great. So yeah, I do think I play the Plaza this turn, instead of curving out here. Green, blue, and black from our opponents. Soul Tie it is with a Simic Locket. They can tap for green or blue. Oh yeah, this hand is looking more and more spicy by the minute. We've now drawn Tolsimir Friend to Wolves. I think I will be getting another source of any color by playing Shieldmate and Caretaker this turn. So yeah, we have red, red, green, green. We have green, green, white, white. If they kill one of our creatures, we don't, but they don't. They just play a Humongous. Alright, Sunder Shaman seems very exciting to me. This is a 5/5 that can only be blocked by one creature. The 5/5 can attack into their 2/5. We either kill Humongous or kill their Locket if it connects. So that seems very good to me. We can also play it slower, grab the District Guide so that we have mana to cast Tolsimir next turn, but Tolsimir's not that exciting. 2/3/3s against a 2/5 doesn't do much, so... yeah, also a 4/4 against a 2/5 doesn't do much, so... just cast the 5/5 here. Sunder Shaman. They're going to need removal. If they don't have the removal, Sunder Shaman's going to put in some work here. City Watch Sphinx. That is a 5/4 flyer. When it dies, they surveil 2, so they could absolutely trade for Sunder Shaman now, if they really want to. But I think that's still just going to be a good trade for us. Let's see, what does this do? Get a 3/3 when that wolf enters the battlefield, gain 3 life, and have it fight a creature. So it can't kill the flyer, it's only going to be 3 power. So no reason to cast Tolsimir pre-combat here. We just kind of set in with Sunder Shaman and then see what we do based on what happens here. So we will trade with City Watch Sphinx. They don't want to lose that Simic Locket. It would be a draw 2. So trade the 5/4 flyer into the 5/5 on the ground, and now just try to use Humongous, I suppose, to block everything we've got. Alright, so surveil both the cards to the top, so they like whatever's coming up. So again, I'm not pumped about Tolsimir when they have a 2/5, and it has hexproof, so I can't target it either, so I suppose even if it was low enough toughness, it wouldn't matter. I kind of want to just play flyers here, because like a 4/4 Vigilance doesn't matter, it just keeps bouncing off that, and Tolsimir won't be able to finish it off because it can't target that. So I'm just going to cast 2 flyers here, now that we've killed their flyer. Skyline Scout, we will have to pay some mana to give it flying, but it's still more likely to hit them than any of our other creatures in hand. Combine Guildmage and an Iron Shell Beetle, so they can move their +1/+1 encounters around if they wish, and just a bunch of dorky creatures on the ground. They're going to attack in with Humongous. Sure, I'll take 3. Alright, well, Tolsimir now does get to kill something. I think I want to kill the Taskmaster, because Combine Guildmage, it just makes their future creatures enter with 1 counter. It's kind of big. I guess we could kill the Combine Guildmage instead, and then like whenever the Taskmaster attacks, it's just going to die to one of our 3/3s, because we're going to get 2 3/3s from Tolsimir. That's the reason I want to kill Taskmasters, because if I kill anything else, they can just bring it back with the Taskmaster anyway. But the Taskmaster does die the second it attacks, because our board's going to be wide and large, so I guess we'll kill the Guildmage here. Force them into a bad attack if they want to bring it back. So this way, like, we temporarily kill the Guildmage and then permanently kill the Taskmaster when it sends in. They just have a 1/1 to block with now, so we can send in our 2/2 Vigilance as well. Guess they do bring back a City Watch Sphinx with the Taskmaster. I should have considered that. Totally forgot about the creature that died a couple seconds ago. Alright, easy discard. Our mana base is already perfect. Alright. So because they chose to play Burglar Rat there, they did not get to attack with Taskmaster and put the Sphinx back into their hand, which is cool. We get to hit for 4 in the sky this turn then, put them down to 12. Don't really have good attacks on the ground because of the Humongous. Thanks to Caretaker, we can still cast this after playing a Plains. So they're at 12, taking 4 damage from flyers each turn. They're going to have to crack this Taskmaster to get a flyer or get some removal to kill our flyers here. Alright, I'm going to block with Cavalier here, because if they have anything to like buff it and kill out of nowhere, I'd rather that die than anything else. Because it does pop out 2 creatures when it dies. Alright, ooh, Silent Dart. That can finish off their flyer. Takes 2 damage from one of these, and then 3 more damage from the dart. Pretty cool. 12 life, 4 blockers here. We could also dart one of their blockers. Get rid of that. They have 3 blockers total. That blocks there. I guess that would block there. They'd kill one of our 3/3s permanently. That would block there. They'd take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it a turn to just dart and go aggro? They kill one of our creatures, right? We actually don't have enough mana to give the scout flying if we dart here too, so they could kill that too with a 1/1. I don't think we do, but we probably will next turn. I'm going to kind of reveal the dart here. I guess we would have had exactly enough because Caretaker, because even if we'd be attacking, we'd have Vigilant stuff. So we could have done the all-out attack here. Kill 1 blocker, attack with everything, giving the scout flying. Yeah, let's get this dart out here. That was probably the play then. Kill Phantasm, attack everything, do a lot of damage, kill all their blockers except Humongulus. Just lose 1 3/3 to bank in on a bunch of damage, or cash in on a bunch of damage. Alright, so I mean, they know we have the dart to finish off the Sphinx if it blocks a flyer here. We could also kill a Phantasm. Then they're blocking 4 things, the 4 biggest things, 1, 2, 3, 4, take 1, 2, 3, 4 damage, go to 4 life. Not gonna cash in there. Ooh, Rakdos the Showstopper. Actually, better for our opponent than us here, because we have just more cards on the board than them, but it is a 6/6 flying trample, so we could just all attack and let whatever dies die. And then drop Rakdos. See what happens. Rakdos is such a random card. Like, Rakdos could give our opponent the game here. Rakdos doesn't necessarily win for us. Let's just see what happens here. And I'm going to give this flying and just kill the Sphinx this turn, and then we'll cast Rakdos next turn and see what happens, I suppose. Alright, cool. So we're just clearing a lot of the board right here. We probably don't even need Rakdos, depending on what they draw. Yeah, they only have a Humongulus now. Probably safest not to play around with Rakdos like that. But if things somehow turn highly in their favor, we can turn them back around with that. We're hitting for 2 a turn now, guaranteed in the sky. They've got a big old creature on the ground now, so we're not really attacking on the ground, but we are... We're killing them in 3 turns with just the scout. We do kill them in 1 attack with Rakdos. And if Rakdos kills the Cavalier, we just get some creatures back anyway. You know what? I guess I have the mana to do both, right? Because of Caretaker? So just guarantee at least a couple damage in here by doing that. But then I'm gonna go for it. Even though we have more creatures than our opponent. Alright. Alright, well that went pretty well. We lost our 0/3 and killed their 3/6 hexproof. So some excellent work from Rakdos there. Actually a really favorable RNG there. Obviously not the nuts RNG. The nuts RNG would just be kill their board, lose nothing, but pretty fantastic RNG nonetheless. And they scoop them up. That is going to be 2-1, I believe, for the final Ravnica Mixer Draft deck so far. Yep, 2-1 heading into round 3 now. Round 4, sorry. I just didn't even count our losses around in my head there. Oh dear. Caretaker, but nothing else confirmed. We have to draw one of our 2-drop creatures to get the mana out of Caretaker. That'll get us to Legionnaire or Pegasus, but quite far from these 2 cards. Need to draw really well to hit correct sources. I'm going to mulligan this. Alright, this is much better. New Horizons, 3 colors of mana on the lands themselves. Get rid of Color of the Culprit, because that's a late game kind of removal spell. I think. Yeah, I think we keep this as the hand. Lava Enforcer can accomplish a similar goal as the Color of the Culprit until it gets killed by some kind of removal. And it just does it to more cards. So we still need to draw well with this hand. We don't have late game action, but at least we're starting off with a 3-3 bashing in thanks to New Horizons. We have our plan for what to do early on in the game. I think our opponent might still be deciding upon their mulligan here. Alright, well, our opponent might have DC'd here. This might be just the free win. If nothing else, they did skip their turn 1, so we are at the advantage this game. I would be pretty excited if they came back and they come back to win it after skipping a turn. But we did mulligan, so that's the equivalent of basically just we played on the draw but didn't mulligan. Or we went on the play but didn't mulligan. Yeah, no, it's not going to be that crazy if our opponent wins here. Essentially, they turned it into they play on the draw and we are on the play. Obviously not ideal, but not the end of the world for them there. So I do love that I have a district guide now. However, I also kind of like just getting in with the boar, especially because next turn we can play the Erranks thanks to New Horizons. And then we'll be attacking with that as a 4-4 Vigilance. That is like super spicy. So boar is sending in as a 3-3 against their 2-1 Kron Strangler. That can get bigger later in the game, but for now all it can do is trump block. So I expect we're dealing 3, putting them down to 17. That is the case. Generous Stray from our opponent. Do like that card. 3 mana for a 1-2, and you draw a card when you play it. They go ahead and hit us with the 2-1. Draw our land for turn. Great. Play our Erranks and buff the boar. Could haste the Erranks here, but pretty much always like just getting the counter, making sure it's going to be the biggest threat on the board for some time to come. Alright, they do cash in that Generous Stray chump block there. Soak up the 4 damage. Opponent is on Golgari, so they could have some undergrowth cards that care about the number of creatures in their graveyard. Or potentially some ways to get creatures back from graveyard to hand. Death Sprout here, gonna go ahead and destroy our Frenzied Erranks and grab a basic land from the deck, put it into play tapped. So Death Sprout does confirm they are on just Golgari here, grab another green source, just green and black for our opponent. Well, slam in with the boar. We're not gonna have any 4-power creatures to make it any bigger. But now we get to cast our District Guide, a Territorial Boar, and a Lava Enforcer if I grab an untapped land here. And with a New Horizons out, I think I'm good to grab an untapped land here. Yeah, just grab like an untapped forest, I suppose. I guess I could grab any untapped land if I go like this. Oh wait, no, now I have to grab an untapped plains, never mind. Either way. And if nothing else, this Lava Enforcer can just keep tapping down that Kron Strangler so we can attack it with everything else. but it's probably tapping down whatever they play here. Ooh, Mobilized District, great man land. 4 mana to make it a 3/3 Vigilance until end of turn. So just a great land when you're flooding out. Basically, you've drawn a land and a creature. Pitiless Gorgon from our opponent, 2/2 Death Toucher, and Pilfering Imp, a 1/1 flyer, and Bond of Flourishing. Draw a permanent out of the top 3 cards of their library, and they draw a Charity Extractor, 1/5 lifelink. So very defensive kind of Golgari deck from them, but now Tolsimir, an excellent draw for us. We can drop down a couple 3/3s and kill one of their cards with the fighting here. And then we still have the mana to tap down the Pitiless Gorgon with Tolsimir's effect. Oh yeah, this is spicy. Just kill that Kron Strangler. If they want to sacrifice the Imp to make us discard the Scout, that's cool. Alright, they scoop them up. They don't enjoy seeing a bomb rare dropped against them there, and that will rank us up into Platinum Tier 4. Yeah, Tolsimir is a wild card. Get 6 power and toughness on your board and remove something from your opponent's board. Sure, it only removes a small card, but it's such a huge swing in the board state. Alright. We are on the play here. We do have Open the Gates, so we do have 3 lands in our hand at least. Slow hand, but I think I'm actually going to keep this one because of Open the Gates. We know we have at least 3 mana, so we're only 1 mana away from casting everything here. And we're going to have perfect mana with Gruul Guildgate, Gateway Plaza, and Open the Gates. Just every color under the sun. So our opponent starts with that turn 1 Healer's Hawk. We can either Open the Gates here or Gateway Plaza. I think I'd rather Open the Gates, play a tapped gate, then next turn I get to play a Gateway Plaza and a Resolute Watchdog if nothing else by grabbing a green-white Guildgate here this turn. Alright, so opponent is on green and white, and that Healer's Hawk is the main play so far. We do hit an untapped land. Would I rather play a 1/3 this turn and then a 4/4 next turn, or a 2/2 flyer this turn and then a 2/2 on the ground next turn? Kind of like playing a 2/2 flyer this turn because of their Healer's Hawk. I think I will go for that here. And then this allows us to still cast like a Territorial Boar instead of just a 1/3 when we play our Gateway Plaza and need to tap another land. And we're only 1 mana away from Tolsimir here. Alright, well, this is criminal activity. But I am not going to accept the trade for a combat trick there. I think our Trusted Pegasus is a great card, and Tolsimir can come in and fight that Hawk off. At the very least, draw their removal spell out at that point. Or their combat trick out at that point. So, I mean, now that we know they're just going to straight attack into our Pegasus, I'm not going to hold it to block, because, I mean, they would just be casting some kind of pump spell. Alright, so Healer's Hawk can keep doing its thing. Resolute Watchdog, unfortunately, can save the Healer's Hawk from the fight, but we are still killing 1 card with it and getting 6 power toughness on the board, so I think the play is still going to be Tolsimir here. And we do it pre-combat, that way Watchdog's off the board and Boar gets to attack in as well here. If we do it post-combat, then the Boar won't be dealing any damage. So they either show off their combat trick here and have the Hawk win the fight, or they sacrifice the Watchdog to keep the Hawk around. Alright, so it is literal giant growth. So it wins the fight, but now it can't get into our Pegasus, so I'm no longer concerned with concerned about blocking with Pegasus. That being said, we do 4 damage if we attack and we take 1. So we take 1, they gain 1, but we're dealing 4, so that's... We're dealing more damage than their total life swing is going to be on the crackback here. And I realize I should have still played Tolsimir post-combat, because I totally forgot we were just going to give the Boar flying anyway. Oh lord, they just had multiple combat tricks there. Alright. Combat trick.deck coming in hot. Giant Growth and Giant Strength, the OG and the new hotness. That being said, now that all the combat tricks are out of the way, they just have a 1-1 and a 1-3 out, so still looking fine. We get to play a Cavalier here. Buff the boar, attack with a couple 3-3s. They can't block with the Watchdog well unless they have a third combat trick. Alright, so sure, we have not dealt with the flyer, but we have the better board state dealing more damage to them than they're doing to us. Winning the game on board. Luminous Bonds. Conclave Cavalier can no longer attack or block. Best removal to have against that card, because if they destroy it, it would spit out a couple 2/2s, and Luminous Bonds, of course, is not going to destroy it. That being said, we can just use it as a mana dork with our Caretaker now, which is kind of nice. Alright, so I'll play our Earrinks here to buff Boar pre-combat again, so that gets to attack in this turn. Get a Watchdog out, so if they have any combat tricks at this point, we shut that off. Save our creature. Alright. Feeling pretty confident this game. Our board state's much better than theirs. Even if they have a Wrath effect, Cavalier will pop out some 2/2s and Watchdog will save our Earrinks, and we'll have a great board state even through a Wrath effect that would destroy all creatures. So they're going to have to play some high-impact plays to get out of this one. Some big bombs for sure. And Trusted Pegasus is a good card, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough to get there. True Fire Captain, an excellent draw. We'll be playing that pre-combat here as well. Again, to trigger our Boar, make it a 3/3. Because we have Resolute Watchdog, we can attack with everything freely here. Even if they double block to kill one of our 3/3s, we can just sack the Watchdog and come out of that interaction on top. Arrester's Zeal, alright. Combat trick, +2/+2, make it a 4/4. Block the Earrinks, alright. Well, they get the Watchdog out of the way then. One card left in their hand. We get both Watchdogs out of the way, alright, I like it. Nobody has to worry about Watchdog shenanigans from this point on. They are all gone. And there's the concession from our opponent. Just did have the hand with a lot of removal and combat tricks to come out a lot of the early trades ahead, but just did not draw into the high impact cards that we did to help close out the game. So 4-1 now. In the value, 1,400 gems at least. Alright, we're on the play. Open the Gates, Caretaker. This is a hand that really just sets up. Slow hand that just sits here and sets up mana. But I'm cool with it. We have a lot of high impact cards in the deck to draw into. Oh, thank goodness we hit a forest here. That speeds up this hand a lot, because now we just get to play a board to start attacking with it, and we still get to set up mana next turn. Next turn we get to play Gateway Plaza, tap the plains, and an Open the Gates or a Caretaker. But yeah, forest was an excellent draw for us. Ooh, no. Dawn of Hope is a card that can absolutely take over a game. It's 4 mana to spit out a 1/1 lifelinker, and whenever they gain life, they can spend 2 mana to draw a card. So they're just going to spit out a million little annoying chump blockers, and we're not really going to be able to get through that, and every time that they chump block, they get to draw a card as well. So Dawn of Hope, if the game goes long, is really going to take things over. So we need to play as aggressively as we can, I think, and just play another boar here instead of any mana fixing. Because Dawn of Hope is certainly the kind of card that can take things over. So Orzhov from our opponent so far, double white and a black, and Pouncing Lynx is the play, just a 2/1. That'll trade for one of our boars. I don't love that, but we don't know when we're going to draw a 4-power creature, so we should probably just attack here anyway. I guess we could wait till we can cast Nahiri, which is going to be next turn, and then all our creatures will have first strike and we can attack in freely. That does slow it down enough to where they get the Dawn of Hope out. I guess with First Strike, actually Nahiri counteracts the life gain. If they chump block with a life linker, we still First Strike it away before they gain life, so this might not be that bad. I think I would rather thin our deck out than get a 0-3 on the board. So let's open the gates here. Thin the deck out a little bit. If we want to cast Nahiri, I want to have a land to play that doesn't require tapping an additional mana, so I'll just grab like a Rakdos Guild Gate so we have Rakdos mana. Because now we'll have double white, double green, double red, and of course the black needed for Rakdos. Alright. So attacking in, I expect means they have a good blocker here. No, some removal. Sorin's Thirst. Now instead of 2 mana to kill one of our creatures, gain 2 life, it's 2 mana, or 4 mana to kill one of our creatures, gain 2 life, and draw a card, so an excellent deal for our opponent. That being said, since they attacked him with Pouncing Lynx, we also get an excellent deal for us, an excellent deal on Nahiri, being able to kill one of their creatures immediately and still have 5 loyalty. Toll of the Invasion. Alright, discard my Caretaker, I guess. Goodbye, 0-3. But not a card that was going to impact this game in the slightest, so we're all good. If they want to hit Nahiri for 1, they are welcome to. Put her down to 4 loyalty, and then we'll just kill their 1-1. And she'll still be at 3 loyalty. Nahiri's the kind of card I'm absolutely okay with just cashing in for as much immediate value as possible. Because, like, theoretically, even if they beat her up and lower her loyalty, like, what did she accomplish here? We spent 4 mana to kill their 2-1 and this 1-1 and stop a damage. Like, she's doing a ton of work, even if she just dies in a couple seconds here. By just cashing in on all the immediate value we can. Alright, they know about this mountain, so I guess we'll play that. But I'm not going to attack into the Herald. So they do just get a 2-2 back. Alright, Burglarette, goodbye Forest. I guess we should have attacked into the Herald. Because if they attack Nahiri, then Nahiri dies or our boar dies. Alright, well I didn't think that one through all the way. Even though Herald has a good ability when it dies, we should have just let it. Ooh, Demotion, the boar can't block. Interesting, I was not going to block anyway, so I guess it all works out fine in the end. So now we have Law Enforcer to keep tapping down the Herald, so we get to just keep attacking with the Territorial Boar. However, they have the mana to spit out a 1-1 every turn. Start gaining life and blocking everything we're doing. Syndicate Guildmage, that is a pretty high impact card here. It can't tap anything on our board, but now they get to keep draining us for life. Or just trade with the boar and not take any more damage. Alright, they do have the Dawn of Hope mana. They're just going to get that 1-1 so they can attack with it, gain a life, draw a card. This game has gone on too long, and I think we are at the point where Dawn of Hope just wins our opponent the game here. We'll be drawing an additional card every single turn now. Even if we choose to hold the Enforcer back instead of tapping down Dreadhorde, sure, we block that, but then they draw a card still, and then spend the 4 mana to make another one. Still going to be drawing an extra card every single turn. And yeah, we're not going to have a way out of them drawing 2 a turn here, so I'm just going to scoop them up a little early here. Even if we hit our 4 power stuff, the Guild Mage like slams us. The best card in our whole deck, Rakdos, doesn't save us. Even if we get the best RNG ever, we wipe their whole board. Herald makes a 2-2. Dawn of Hope is still out. See, I guess with Rakdos in the deck, we had that one hope. If we hit Rakdos and wipe their entire board, we have probably a 50% chance of winning. So 1 out of our like 25 cards gives us like a 50-50 shot, but everything else is like a 0% chance. And 1 out of 25 is well below 50-50, so very, very low odds there. Just gonna move on to the next round here. Not expend too much time and brain powder today. My brain's already getting pretty hazy. It's already feeling like nap time. Alright, this hand is excellent. Another hand with some great mana, thanks to Open the Gates. Alright, opponent has kept as well. Turn 1 Law Reinforcer to get in for damage here because I'm just going to play Boar next turn anyway, even if I open the gates. Turn 3, then we open the gates, grab a Guild Gate, play it so that we have these turn 4 plays lined up. Or at least one of them, we wouldn't have True Fire Captain lined up. Yeah, I think that's what I'm on here. The plan here is going to be Law Reinforcer, Boar, turn 3, open the gates for the Gruul Guild Gate. Because the Gruul Guild Gate helps cast both of these, grabbing that red mana. We already have the double white here. If we had a Boros, well, I guess we have double white already, so yeah, it's going to be Gruul. So we have double green. Alright, let's stop thinking about the future, start thinking about our immediate plays, which is definitely Territorial Boar, attack for 1. Another Golgari deck here, green and black from our opponent. And a Spark Reaper here, a 2-3. They can spend 3 mana to go ahead and sacrifice a creature or planeswalker, gain a life, and draw a card. So we can tap that down to get 2 more damage in here with the Law Reinforcer. We could also open the gates for a Gateway Plaza. So either grab a regular Guild Gate, tap that down, attack in, or grab a Gateway Plaza and don't tap it down, don't attack this turn. I think I'm okay with the don't attack play. But I guess we'll look at the Guild Gates we have here. It's like, I mean, Gruul Guild Gate is so close to as good as a Gateway Plaza here, right? Because then we have double green, we have double white. The only thing we don't have is double red, and even with Gateway Plaza, we won't have double red. It's just our 1 red source. I think I'm just gonna grab the Gruul Guild Gate, actually get a couple damage in here still. We could also have grabbed the Rakdos Guild Gate, but we have 2 cards that require double green, and only the 1 card that requires a black mana, so we'll get that set up. We also have the Caretaker as a backup plan eventually for black mana. Alright, another Gruul Guild Gate. Get to play our 4/4 Frenzied Erranks. If we do that, we do buff the Boar, but a 3/3 isn't big enough to get into the Bloom Hulk anyway. We could play Sky Knight Legionnaire, tap down Bloom Hulk, hit for 4. But I'm sort of considering tapping down Bloom Hulk on blocks here. Gruul Guild Gate is the 2nd red needed for True Fire Captain to get on the board, and True Fire Captain is like pretty great. Trade off with the Hulk and do a bunch of damage to their face kind of thing. It's actually play defensively and set up a True Fire Captain here. So we're just going to tap down the 4/4 here, I think. And now we have a 0/3 to block the 2/3, so we're taking like no damage this way. And then once the 4/4 is tapped down, that's when we can play one of our 4-power creatures and attack in with the Boar, get the value off of its effect. It all depends what they cast this turn. They might play another big creature, we'll see. But if they don't, this could be a good Boar attack turn. And this turn we'll have the mana to cast one of these and still tap something down with Enforcer. Rhizome Lurcher, a 2/2. Alright, well that is not big enough to super matter here. They could double block the Boar now, but we still get to kill Spark Reaper off that, so that's a good trade for us. I think I like True Fire Captain better than the Erranks here. So we'll go with that. I will play the land first so I don't have to use Caretaker. So I can hold that on blocks. Now we get to attack with that boar. The only way to kill it is if they double block. And we get to trade up into a Spark Reaper that way. Alright, sure. I will take that trade. We do have Sky Tether, but nothing I want to Sky Tether here. So next turn we can even slam down a hasty Sky Knight Legionnaire so we can attack with the Captain and the Legionnaire, put a counter on it, make it a 3/3 flying haste with the Mentor ability, putting a counter on our small creatures when they attack. One of my cats is trying to beat down the door. I don't know why. They have already been fed this morning. I guess they just want some cuddles. It's going to have to wait a little bit. Alright, Undercity Necrolis. Got 3/3. At sorcery speed, they can sack a creature to put a +1/+1 counter on it, give it menace till end of turn. Not that scary. Pretty fine with that. We'll trade with the Captain here. Ooh, Color the Culprit. We can kill the Bloom Hulk permanently. I wish Caretaker didn't have Defender here, because I could attack with it and Mentor onto it with the Captain. Because I could shut off the Necrolisc and then Collar the Hulk here. I do like having the Collar the Culprit for the Hulk. Is it okay if True Fire Captain dies here? I think if we get the value of getting at least one +1/+1 counter on it, it's okay if it trades for Necrolisc. So I think we will allow that to happen here, because it'll also do damage to them still. Alright, so trade, deal 6 damage to them this turn. And we have a 3/3 flyer, and they have no flyers. We can keep tapping down that Bloom Hulk. But I'm actually going to tap down Rhizome Lurcher here, because we're in an aggressive enough spot that if they want to attack me with the 4/4, then by all means attack me with the 4/4, and if they don't, we'll probably just kill it with Collar if they're holding it to block. So alright, go down to 14. See, like this way, we got all their blockers tapped down. So if we want to haste out an Erynx just to get like 3 more damage in, we can absolutely do that really easily here. Alright, Severed Strands, sacrifice the 2/2, kill the 3/3 flyer. Okay. Do I want to haste out the Erynx, get 3 damage in immediately, or do I want that +1/+1 counter? I think against Golgari here, like, they could have removal pretty easily, so let's get some amount of impact out of this, even if it dies immediately. Yeah, because we have the mana to buff it up too, so it's going to be more than big enough to bash in for a lot, and we have the Collar the Culprit to kill one of their blockers they could be using on it. Still racing hard and just attacking with Enforcer. I don't think this time. Not for just 1 more point of damage. 3, 4, 5. We could hold this Plains in hand in case they have Burglar Rat. That is a relatively popular card in black. Sure. In case of a Burglar Rat, we'll keep a Plains here. They still want to race, they are welcome to. Save our Law Rune Enforcer to tap down another blocker if they cast another one here. Down to 10. 10 life to 10 life. Ooh, Rampaging Red Horde, that's going to be a 5/5. Alright, no value from Law Rune Enforcer here because we are going to collar that. So we could have still tapped the Hulk, since we aren't ending up collaring the Hulk here. Alright, Skyline Scout is the draw. Flyer here is pretty big. So 6, 7, 8, yeah, 6, 7 damage. If I buff the Erynx and attack with Enforcer. So we don't kill them this turn, but we can kill them next turn. So, Collar the Rendhorn. cast the Skyline Scout, use the Skyline Scout and Caretaker to tap the Bloom Hulk to stay safe, and then we still have the Law Reinforcer to tap down their next creature. So we tap down 2 creatures and just get in for lethal next turn if they don't have a removal spell. Alright, and they scoop them up there. Frenzied Errangs is going to close out the game that time. And we went for the haste ability on the Errangs for the first time in the Ravnica Mixer Drafts. Have made it to 5 wins, so now we're in the money, getting extra value. 1,600 gems and some packs. I do already own all of the cards in these Ravnica sets, so the extra packs are just a little bit more gems. Which is pretty nice. As long as I get to play more drafts, I'm always happy. So I just like going even or better. Always excited to do that. So 5-2 now. Pretty great run no matter what happens here. 2 wins away from a potential 7-win run. The fated, the beautiful, the excellent, the fantastic, like this hand. We can turn 2 Sky Knight Legionnaire here, which is pretty spicy. Actually, no, we can't. No, we can't, because we'd have to play 1 for Enforcer and then tap the Enforcer. That would just be 2 mana turn 2. Might be able to turn 4 Sunder Shaman if we hit a red source, because then green, green, red, red. Against Goblin Banneret, would I rather have an 0-3 or the 1-2? Yeah, that can get +2/+0. Let's just play the Law Reinforcer. If it trades with Banneret, it trades with Banneret. Right, Ornery Goblin is the play, so it does hold off the Banneret here. Gateway Plaza is the draw. Sets up for a turn 3 Sky Knight Legionnaire. It's not that exciting. Sets up for a turn 4 Sunder Shaman alongside Caretaker. I think I want to still stop damage for now, play Caretaker, and use Enforcer's ability. Banneret is an issue. Just how cheap it is to buff this thing up. Can kill any of our early game creatures. It would trade for the Enforcer though. But if I don't tap down the Ornery Goblin here, like they get to buff Banneret, attack with both, the Ornery Goblin will permanently be a 3/2 then. But then I do get to trade with Banneret. Probably worth it. No attacks, alright. Just cast a Blade Instructor here. Okay. Well, just in case, I guess. Tap that. The only attacks I would potentially make here would be attacks where I want them to trade with my small creatures, so we'll leave their best creature untapped. Or best creatures, plural. So open the gates. Just setting up to get a big old Sunder Shaman here. This is just an excellent Boros aggro deck from just Guilds of Ravnica. Every card so far just being Boros Pack 1 cards. So this is terrifying. The Boros aggro decks and guilds can be super fast and just really stack up with the Mentor abilities. As you can see here, that's going to be a 3/2, that's going to be a 2/2. Or actually, I guess these both have Mentors, so they just both Mentor onto the center one. So the Mentor's not stacking up that well, but it still gives them a lot of 3-power stuff really early. Really don't know what I want to do with my mana here. I guess Gateway Plaza and cast Open the Gates. I'm going to grab a gate that doesn't require an additional mana, so I can cast Sky Knight Legionnaire and play Gruul Guildgate next turn. So I am not holding up the ability to tap something down here, but the only thing I could tap down is Blade Instructor. And I would like to trade with it instead. Unfortunately, they have removal. That gets me pretty bad. Yeah, I can't make the mana to tap something down unless I tap this with the Caretaker, so I can't tap a thing. See? So that dies. And now this attack goes really poorly for me because I don't have something that can trade into one of the Mentors. So we're taking 9 or losing the Caretaker. And now we can't use the Caretaker to cast the Shaman. No, this is just going to be too aggressive of a start from the Boros deck here. It's looking mega bad for us here. And Collar the Culprit, terrible in this matchup. Just doesn't kill any of these small creatures. So, Sky Knight Legionary guess trades with one of these. They can double buff the Bannerets to make it 5 power. And Mentor onto something again. Burning Tree Vandal with haste here. Just an excellent deck from our opponent. Too fast, too furious. Well, we do get to stop the Banneret damage without losing that. Blade Instructor does buff the Burning Tree Vandal. We do have green, green, red, red for Shaman after I play this Forest, so we get to play a 5/5 next turn. Banneret can kill the 5/5 on blocks. That is their only card that could kill a 5/5. So we could trade here instead and do this. That way Sunder Shaman can block any of these and not die. So then we just have Sunder Shaman and Caretaker. Sunder Shaman blocks, probably Blade Instructor kills it. We take 3, 4, 5, 6. Or chump block with Caretaker that turn. Be it 5. So we would have to chump block with Caretaker next turn. But I think we have to kill this Banneret. Oh, Jesus. If they have Defiant Strike as well, we just die. Yeah, we play 1 blocker here. Just die to 2 of these, even if they didn't have Mentor. Alright. Just a blazing fast Boros aggro deck to really punish us on the number of tapped lands that we have. The one downside of the 3+ color decks in the Ravnica Mixer format. Sometimes just a hard aggro deck like that can just deconstruct your entire game plan, just coming out under you. So overall, had a lot of fun in the Ravnica Mixer Drafts. Really cool format, really fun format. Leaves you open to playing a lot of fun stuff. That one draft where we just ended up going 5-color Planeswalker stuff, that was really cool. This draft also was quite fun, having enough guild gates to be able to actually pretty reasonably cast all 3 of these cards on turn 4 or turn 5 most games. Was pretty spicy. Obviously Tolsimir and Rakdos, the big bombs, were great here. Pretty fun deck overall. We even had some aggressive curves. We had an opponent that doubled on mana, so we got to just be like, alright, 2 mana 2/2, 3 mana 2/2 flyer, and then turn 4 play a big old Frenzied Errangs, you know? So we kind of got to do it all with this deck. Pretty fun deck overall. 5-3, nice run overall, getting some extra gems. And yeah, had a lot of fun with this format, and sad to see it go so soon. These formats, of course, just staying on for 1 week, but I will be back again very soon with some more of these formats. We have the premier drafts of the core sets format. Might not get that out to you tomorrow, might be a couple days, but I will be drafting as many of those as I can as well, doing daily drafts once I get started on that format. It should be a fun time, so stay tuned for that if you're interested in these mixer draft formats, these interesting draft formats. In the meantime, that one's going to be 1 pack of M19, M20, and M21, just mixing all the core sets together a little bit there. So kind of a draft fundamentals sort of format, being just a bunch of core sets together. So should be a good time there, and that will be what's coming up next on the channel. After that, of course, we have the launch of the new Innistrad Crimson Vow set. As always, going to be diving deep into that set, doing nothing but limited to that for quite a while. And then the draft challenges, when they come up, would be the next big event. But until then, as always, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.